So, not only has Sony revealed the new PS5 gamebox design, but they've also brought a $250 million stake in Fortnite creator Epic Games. So, yeah, I'm scared about what that could mean. Also, iPadOS 14 and iOS 14, their public betas have officially been released. So, you've been waiting for public betas, then I'll have information on how to get those. And Australia and the UK have opened a joint investigation. This is a across the world investigation into Clearview AI, which I also had a story on yesterday. So it seems like a lot of things I'm doing are actually getting multiple stories. So, you know what? Let's get straight off with Sony, and as I did last time, because we've got two stories from the same, kind of about the same company, we're going to have to do it in segments. There will actually be 3 segments today, just due to the way that I really want to do that Australia UK Clearview AI investigation. I got a really cool way that I want to do that today, so I'm definitely going to be doing that in its own segment. But let's get off with this $250 million stake in Epic Games for Sony. So it's a minority stake, but it was last valued at $17 billion. So, you know, they're definitely not trying to completely take over. However, and this investment apparently lets the two companies, quote, broaden their collaboration across Sony's leading portfolio of entertainment assets and technology, and Epic's social entertainment platform and digital ecosystem to create unique experiences for consumers and creators, end quote. Now, there's some rumours and a line of press release that also suggests Sony and Epic want to create more Fortnite-like virtual multimedia experiences. So, like maybe a concert or something. So, start quote, "We share a vision of real-time 3D social experiences leading to a convergence of gaming, film and music," end quote. So that's a quote from Tim Sweeney, which is Epic's CEO and founder. So because Sony has subsidiaries like Sony Pictures and Sony Music, they might want to tie close to PlayStation Division's games using Epic's know-how. Now, it doesn't mean Epic titles will now be exclusive to Sony consoles, and the studio will still be able to publish games to other consoles. This was confirmed by Epic to VentureBeat. So that is my relief just gone right there. And they have and Sony and Epic have worked closely, so it's not a massive surprise. In fact, Sweeney called Sony's upcoming PlayStation 5 console a remarkably balanced device and heaped praise on the SSD. Epic also used a stunning PS5 demo to show off the capabilities of Unreal Engine 5 back in May. Sweeney also said Epic have been working closely with Sony on the development of its next-gen console storage architecture, saying, start quote, "We've been working super close with Sony for quite a long time on storage," end quote. Now, Epic is kind of the thing that really got Sony on board with cross-player multiplayer for Fortnite, because before then, if you had a Fortnite account, Nintendo Switch and Xbox One players could play with each other and access programs and skins across those consoles, but Sony blocked crossplay on PS4. Now, since allowing Fortnite, many more have added crossplay multiplayer features. And Epic also has a notable outside investor in Tencent. They invested $330 million in 2012 for a 40% stake in the studio. Now, Sony apparently didn't get as big of a stake as Tencent did with the deal announced today. Sony and Epic call it a minority interest, and Epic's valuation has grown significantly since 2012. In large part due to the massive success of Fortnite, which earned $400 million in revenue just in April of this year. That's insane. That's actually insane. Okay, you know what? Fortnite has earned a lot of money for Epic, but again, I don't know how I feel about this. It's the same way I feel about Digital Extremes and also Microsoft's purchase of Warner Brothers games. I'm not too worried about that one. Microsoft have proven themselves to be willing to keep multi-platform games multi-platform. They did it with Minecraft, and they're showing no sign of ever reversing that course of action. And I don't think there's really any reason to. And unless they made it free on anything, in fact, but even then you wouldn't do it. And like, you know, they don't worry me as much as Sony do with their kind of purchases. Like, Sony it's a minority stake, so I don't think they have a control over publishing, and Epic have said games are not locked to Sony console at this moment in time. So, you know, we don't have to worry about that for this moment in time, but still, I do wonder where this is going to take. You know, what's going to happen to Unreal Engine? Is Unreal Engine going to become, say, the officially PlayStation sanctioned development engine? I don't know if it is already. Actually, it could already be, and I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, could it be, okay, Unreal Engine, you can use it for Xbox, but it's a PlayStation first development engine. You know, like, what are they going to do with Epic Games property now that they have a minority stake that's worth $250 million? Crazy how something that sounds like a massive amount of money basically means nothing when you're talking about billions of dollars. But anyway, something else that's happened that, you know, kind of major, kind of not major, it depends on your opinion on this topic. The PS5 game box design is out. Yay! PS4 box with a couple major differences, or as far as I can tell, one major difference. Basically, it's the same old game box, but there's the same blue accents. But now instead of it, it's a white and black header at the top. So at the top of the console now, you've got white and black instead of the blue one that you had previously. But as far as I can tell, there's not really much else. Now that matches the design of the hardware family, and there's nothing indicating that you'll need a PS5 with a disc drive to play games that come in physical boxes on the game box. But yeah, you probably wouldn't be shopping for physical games if you get the digital only PS5. Now, yeah, it is definitely slightly different. The only on PlayStation is not on the top either. So when you're looking at Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is now confirmed to be an independent game, not an expansion pack or anything, that was very confusing. In the top right on the PS4 Spider-Man, you had only on PlayStation, but you don't have that on Spider-Man Miles Morales. Instead, what you got is PlayStation Studios. Now that won't always, I don't know if that will always be synonymous with only on PlayStation, but the idea of it is that is kind of the same thing as Xbox Game Studios. So, and that is normally exclusive to Microsoft platforms. So it's probably a very similar thing to that in a way. But it's not majorly different. And, you know, I just don't, at the end of the day, cool, it's a game box design. Really, as long as you've got the name of the console on it, I don't really think it matters. It's going to be the same, like, unless they've done, say, something drastically different. So say they'd had half of it black, half of it white or something, with a line down the middle that was a blue accent, which wouldn't really work for a game box, and would look pretty ugly when I put it in my head, you know? Like, that's the thing, game box kind of has to look like a game box. So there's not really anything that can change now with that. So, you know, that is kind of everything for Sony's section. I'm going to do a quick iOS section in 2 minutes, and then I will move on to Clearview AI investigation. It will probably be the longest of these 3 sections, and this is coming up on 10 minutes. So, you know, let's quickly stop here, and I'll be back when it gets to iOS 14. Okay, so after about a month of waiting, the betas that are the public betas for iOS and iPadOS 14 are finally here. I'm definitely happy to be seeing these. Now, I have been using a developer program, but that was not through the official developer program, that was through a bit of a sidewalk. So now I'm on the official public beta, and the first one was today. So basically, there's not really much. I mean, it gives you access to most of the features you would expect to see with it. So all of the features you're kind of seeing, so widgets on home screen for iOS, not iPadOS 14. As far as I can tell, there's still no way for the kind of default browser app changes to be there. But, if you say you wanted to check out the app library on your phone and not have all of those pages, definitely something to get out of the way. And at least to me, it appears to be very, it appears to be very stable. However, there are some things with iPadOS 14, especially with iPadOS 14, which is the one I've kind of been testing, which is kind of a bit buggy. So this is specific with one app that's crashed. In terms of everything else, it's almost completely stable as far as I can tell. My one bug is with the Now TV app if you're in the UK. So if you're in the UK and you pop onto Now TV every once in a while, you will notice that the app currently is not opening. Now I am checking constantly to see if it is just merely a normal app update that I need to do, but as far as I can tell, that's not the case. So I'll update if that is. But basically, if you want to get any of the betas, iOS 14, iPadOS 14, just go to Apple's beta software portal, literally just search up iPadOS 14 beta Apple, that should be the first thing. And then sign in with your Apple account. Then click on Enroll Your Devices. Now, when you click iPadOS, it will remind you to make a backup on a macOS computer or Windows computer in case you need to revert. I kind of skip this. I normally find that these are very stable and I don't really have a problem with it. Then basically but I would still recommend that you do if you don't, say, have a secondary device. Scroll down until you find the button that says download profile, then select it. When that comes up, a warning should probably pop up saying a website you're trying to download a configuration profile. Select allow, and then it says you can go to settings app to enable that profile. Once you're in settings, a new section will be there called profile downloaded. Just press the access, and then if nothing prompts you to get started with the download, you can either initiate it yourself by going to software update, or just wait for it to do it itself. Now, on my iPadOS 14 device, when actually installing from developer beta to public beta, I did notice that I was prompted to restart my device for the changes to take effect. I just quickly restarted, didn't take long, but just be aware that can happen. But in terms of crashes, on iOS 14 it's just a few crashes with incoming calls on the phone app, so definitely don't use it on your main driver. And some apps like LinkedIn, Reddit and TikTok are caught copying user clipboards, but that's well known. There's not really much of an issue. There's not really much. So, in terms of bugs, it's a very stable year for iOS. If you're interested in the Android side of betas, then long story short, the Android 11 beta is only out for Pixel devices and has been out for a significant amount of time. So that's everything in terms of iOS and iPadOS 14 public betas. Probably not even going to make the 5-minute mark on this segment, so short segment, do not mind. Next we're going to go on to Clearview's investigation. That will probably be a fairly long segment. Long story short, I've basically done a lot on Clearview AI and there's a lot to get through. So, that's the end of this segment, and hey, we actually managed to pass the 5-minute segment. Okay, so I'm going to stop this, pop in some background music, and I will be back when we're talking about Clearview. Okay, so this is quite shocking, to be honest. So, Australia and the UK have officially opened a joint investigation into Clearview AI. Now, this comes not long after Clearview actually completely left Canada after they opened an investigation into Clearview AI themselves. I don't know if this is going to happen with this investigation, but I will go into some more detail on Canadian investigation, how that's kind of gone down. But first, let's go into this joint investigation. This is incredible. So, the regulatory bodies in Australia and the UK are concerned with Clearview's practice of using scrapped data and biometrics. Now, the facial recognition program from Clearview AI claims to have a database with 3 billion images gathered from the open web. It offers that database to law enforcement so they can identify criminals and victims, but it obviously raises privacy concerns. Now, Twitter, Google, and YouTube, I don't know why they're counted separate, but obviously they are vaguely. Anyway, they've all sent Clearview AI cease and desist letters, alleging Clearview violates their terms of service. Facebook and Venmo demanded Clearview stop scrapping their data, and the ACLU have rejected Clearview's claim the tech is 100% accurate, as well as recently suing the company for allegedly violating an Illinois state law. Now, apparently thousands of public law enforcement agencies and private companies work for Clearview, and a data breach earlier this year exposed the full client list. It includes Best Buy, Macy's, the Department of Justice themselves, and a number of foreign states like the UAE. That hack also raised concerns about how secure Clearview's database actually is, and understandably, I'm personally concerned about that myself. Now, the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner, so OAIC, and the UK's Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, which is what they'll be referred to now, from now on, will conduct the investigation. Until it's complete, the regulatory bodies won't be saying much, just for the information that the investigation will be conducted in accordance with the Australian Privacy Act 1988 and the UK Data Protection Act of 2018. The bodies may work with other data protection authorities who have also raised similar concerns. In a statement provided to Engadget, Clearview AI CEO Wonton Fat said Clearview AI searching publicly available photos from the internet is used to help identify criminal suspects, currently unavailable in UK and Australia. Individuals in these countries can opt out, continue to cooperate with UK's ICO and Australia's OAIC. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a quick rundown of this whole thing. So let's get into a bit more deep stuff, and I don't know. I kind of really don't like the idea behind any of this. Not because I don't want my face being known, but the fact is, I don't know how reliable it is. I don't know how trustworthy it is. I don't know. So, facial recognition has always been a tricky thing for me, and for a lot of people in general. I think with facial recognition there is prejudice based on race and multiple other factors. It does happen whether it's intentionally built in or not. It will happen. There's not really any federal regulation in any country as to how these have to be used. And overall it's just kind of, I hate it personally. I hate the idea of a non-regulated company being able to just scrap my data from a website because I put up a photo of myself, and they then have that stored in their secure database. Then one day when I walk past the security camera, it goes, "Oh hey, that's Luke. That's Luke, and he's walking down the street," and it just knows that. I don't want that. Especially not when it's government regulated. Especially when not government regulated. And the fact is, Clearview I'm actually disappointed in them, because if they'd done this right and gone about it the right way, it could have been really interesting. So, the way that Clearview gets its data though, it's not right in my opinion. They use scraped data and biometrics. So it's not like it's, you submit it yourself. It's, if it can find it, it has it. And, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Amazon placed a moratorium on police use of its tech. Basically saying they would wait 1 year. Microsoft isn't selling its facial recognition software to police without facial recognition, although apparently they tried to sell its tech to the DEA. Police in San Diego and Boston won't use facial recognition full stop, and New York City has passed an NYPD surveillance oversight bill. However, in Detroit, facial recognition has already led to one wrongful arrest. That arrest... Hang on, trying to load this. Yeah. So, someone called Robert Williams. Now, this is from DataWorks Plus, but basically, they showed the match to an off-site security consultant who identified Williams as the culprit, but he never saw the perpetrator firsthand. Now, apparently the DataWorks system can't tell black people apart, and it's tainted by officers' assumptions about facial recognition systems produce the right suspect. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely facial recognition. I just don't think it should have ever been allowed. In my opinion, I think to an extent it should be allowed, but I don't think it should be allowed for every crime that happens. So, for example, say you're working on murder, or you're working on an abduction. Yeah, go ahead and whip out the facial recognition. Literally have it on full blast everywhere in the country. Everywhere in the world, for crying out loud. Have it everywhere. Definitely go ahead with that. Have multiple AIs running it. Have everything you can for that sort of thing. Terrorist incidents as well. Those sorts of things. Have as many as possible running. As many AIs running. As much as you can. But just have it running all the time. And it's like, oh hey, that's the person. To a crime that happened, say, a year ago, that was someone throwing something through a glass window or something, that sort of thing. I know that's probably not what it would be used for, but, it kind of you get picked up for a crime that happened a year ago and it's literally a misdemeanor, but because you were never arrested and you never turned yourself in, then you were probably getting a bit more trouble for that. It's just it's that kind of thing where you gotta think, where are you willing to draw the line? Yeah, as I say, this is really blurry, in my opinion. I just don't know what's going to happen with the future of AI facial recognition technology. Australia and the UK are going the right way, but the fact is, especially the way Clearview AI are doing it, they're literally just taking anything they can find of you. So if your Instagram account is public, they could have your photo. If you have anything set to public and you have one photo of yourself on it, you could be in their database. And there's no way for you to check, as far as I'm aware, if you're in their database. So, you know, now that kind of my basic things on Clearview and the UK Australia investigation. Let's go into the Canada one. I did cover this yesterday, but in light of this one, it seems to be a bit bigger now. So, basically, Canada has opened a federal investigation into Clearview AI as well. And basically, they supposedly had a deal with one of the Canadian law enforcement companies. I can't remember which one it was now. And Canada decided to open an investigation into it. I'm really sorry I can't remember the names of the departments. But they opened an investigation into Clearview, and Clearview, pretty shortly afterwards, said, okay, we're coming out of Canada. Like, out of the blue, the only reason for it would have been that investigation, because it would have revealed something. And they just completely backed out of Canada. Like, nothing, not offered to anyone, it was just yanked off a chain. It really does make me think that there's something a lot more shady with especially Clearview than any other. Now, Clearview AI is kind of recognised as a bit of a shady company, especially when you see some of their practices like this. But again, I don't know, it's a very thin line. It's a very thin line with what you can call shady and what you can't. I'm just hoping that they don't, they're not doing something horrendous with what they've got, and what they've got is something that's going to benefit people, not just... Yeah, I'm really not sure. I just hope someone can quickly get regulation across all countries, and that we won't have to worry about this much longer. Anyway, that is everything for today's episode. So we've had two Sony stories. The PS5 Gamebox design, radical, not. To be honest, I like it. It's decent. I don't think it's the best one they've ever done, though, to be honest. Just, I don't know, something about that colour scheme on that packaging doesn't work. I love the console. Absolutely. See, the more I look at the console, the more I start to not like it. Like, with the Xbox, it's kind of a nondescript black box. I don't mind that. I'm fine with that. With Sony, it's quite, it's very radical. It's very showy. Like, this is a console. This is something you're going to want to use. Sort of thing. So, I don't know. Sony brought $250 million stake in Epic Games. iOS 14 and iPadOS 14 public betas are out. And Clearview AI is facing a joint investigation from Australia and the UK. Yeah, so again, that is everything. Also, Clearview is not available in the UK and Australia. So, just a small thing on that. Anyway, yeah, that's everything for today's episode. I'm really disappointed with that story, to be honest. So, that's everything for today's episode, and I will see you in tomorrow's.